Welcome back to another episode of the Into 99 podcast, where we got 99 cards because Commander's number one. I am your necromancer with all the answers, Necrozek, joined by my two good buddies, Dan and Slothy. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm pretty good, thanks. How about yourself?
Oh, yeah, got a bit of a headache, but I'll be all right. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing pretty good, too. I spent yesterday taking a day off, which I never do, so it was lovely. It was a good time to just relax a bit.
I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, hopefully your headache goes away pretty soon, and hopefully everyone listening is doing well, too.
Yes, so you want to tell the audience what we're in for today?
Yeah, so we're going back to the Baldur's Gate spoilers. Like I said last week, I didn't want everyone to have to sit through 2 hours of me ranting again like normal. But the Commander spoilers have come out too, so we're going to quickly just rip through the bottom list and then get back to where we were. I don't think that some of these were spoiled last week, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Started off Calculating Lich, I don't think we talked about last week. It's 4 double black for a zombie wizard 5/5 with menace. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses a life. That's really good. That's a really, really good ability.
That's actually a reprint too, and it's awesome that they reprinted it here because it fits really well. That was in the what is it? The Friday Night Magic decks, is
that what it's from?
Mm-hmm. It's the same. It's the same deck, the same set that I think Devilish Duo is the card that came out in. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because there's I hadn't seen that one before, so I was like, oh, if this is a reprint, I got to get a bunch. That makes sense that it was from one of those packs, so it's cool that they put it in here.
Mm-hmm. It needed a reprint. All those cards were actually very good, and they just were kind of stuck. If you didn't get one of those sets, you were kind of in trouble.
It being a zombie wizard as well really gives it a lot. That's very good tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about this Durnan thing last week?
Durnan, yes, we did.
We did talk Durnan? I don't think we got Folk Hero, because I would have ranted about that card. It's 1 and a white for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you control have whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type with this creature, draw a card, triggers only once a turn. That's just a very good enchantment for any tribal-based deck that has white, let alone from the command zone.
Yeah, all the background stuff is just so cool. I really like how they did that. That definitely is an interesting way to get these almost partner pairings, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we talked Haunted one, right?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you guys are going to just have to bear with me for 5 minutes while I get through some of these, because they put a lot. There's just an insane amount of new stuff in here. And like I said, some is reprints, some is not reprints. I wish they hadn't changed our list around so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do. For everyone listening at home, sorry. I will, if I remember, cut this part. I'm not gonna cut this. Yeah, so first off, we have this Deep Gnome Terramancer. I know there's no way we talked about this one, because I would remember such a silly looking card. 1 and a white for a gnome wizard with flash. It has Mold Earth. Whenever 1 or more lands enter the battlefield under an opponent's control without being played, you may search your library for a plains card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Do it only once a turn. Again, that's too strong. That's very good.
That is very good.
The green deck ramps and you just get to go get free plains for 1 and a white. Yeah. It's really good. I'm pretty sure that's from the commander decks.
It would have to be, right?
These all have the same symbol. So I don't know. That is actually one of the better ramp cards that I've seen going to white. And again, I don't think that white needs all of the hand holding they're giving white. I think that white is pretty strong.
Well, especially after this set.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're overcompensating a little bit.
Yeah, Zach, do you want to take this Endless Evil? I don't think we chatted about this one. I think it's from the horror deck.
Okay, sure. Let me get to that. Sorry, I was trying to get caught up.
No worries. Yeah, there's so many things.
I'm actually having a hard time finding it.
Oh, don't worry. I'll read it then. It's an enchantment, 2 and a blue. Enchant creature you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token. It's a copy of enchanted creature, except it's 1/1. When it dies, if it was a horror, return Endless Evil to its owner's hand.
Seems good.
That's really good. Recurring nightmare kind of theme, almost without. Obviously, doesn't bring it back from the graveyard and isn't. Recurring nightmare shouldn't be banned. I want to play it so badly.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah, but again, that is another really, really good card. I play the it's the it was one of the buy a box promos. I can't remember. It's whenever a horror enters, everyone mills till the exile lands. It's you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember its name.
Yeah, it's a really annoying commander, and my playgroups never enjoyed it a single time. Because when you're playing a mill deck like that, you have to target one person. You don't. I know that everyone wants to spread it around the table, but you can't. You have to dedicate to mill one person and wreck one person's game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're all you're gonna do is make everyone at the table angry instead of just like making it a funny joke and being like, "Oh, sorry, Greg."
Yeah,
Greg is fun to kill in my playgroup. Sorry, Greg. Yeah, so we've got that one. What else do we have here? They obviously Glorious Protectors are reprint, which is actually a nice one. We talked about all of these ones. What is this green slime one? We didn't talk this. It's an ooze with flash, 2 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, counter target activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If a permanent ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. Why? Why? I'm gonna go ahead and read that again. 2 and a green, 2/2 flash, ooze. When it enters, counter target activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If a permanent ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. So it's just like a perfect way to like blow my Panharmonicons off the board.
you're forgetting something too. It has foretell.
Oh, it has foretell. Of course. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it foretell for 1 green?
I really like this card.
Yeah,
Oh,
I enjoyed this one.
Carador is getting like so much love this set.
yeah. We've got Harper Recruiter, which is 2 and a white for a flying human warrior. 3/1. When it attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal a cleric, a rogue, a warrior, and a wizard from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. That's actually pretty good for the party mechanic.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that. Oh, good.
Sorry, it's totally a flavor thing. You go first.
I'm so glad that we're getting more support for Party, because Party was a mechanic that I was really, really excited about. So to see that we're getting more love and we can expand upon those decks and that like theme more is just so exciting.
Slothy, your flavor comments.
I really like how they're bringing. It feels like they're trying to bring more recognition to D&D as a whole with this set, as opposed to Drist and all like that group.
Yeah.
Because the Harpers is a faction, and actually some of my players actually joined them recently, so it's really cool to see.
The Harpers are pretty cool in the story.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm choking on my drink. We are getting a Jessica's Will reprint in one of the decks, because why wouldn't they put it in the set? Of course. Journey to the Lost City. I'm sorry, I'm choking over here. 3 and a green enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top 4 cards of your library, then roll a d20. You may put a land from among them onto the battlefield if it's 1 to 9. Sorry, I am dying. 10 to 19. Create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, then put a 1/1 counter on it for each creature card among those cards. That's very strong. And then 20, put all permanent cards exiled with Journey to the Lost City on the battlefield, then sack it. Pretty good.
Yeah. Seems fine.
Pretty good dice rolling.
I still can't believe they're reprinting Kindred Discovery. Like, it's needed it, but it still blows my mind.
I love the artwork on it, too. It's one of the ones I actually really want from the set.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure.
Leyline of Anticipation's in one of the decks, because, again, why wouldn't it be? They, a lot of the stuff that they're stuffing into these commander decks, this is, again, I'm going to go off on my little tirades here. This is why I don't like how much commander stuff they're putting out. Like, we have a Jessica's Will reprint in it. Like, we're just constantly getting good cards shoved into the commander decks. So it's almost, you almost can't miss out buying them, because they're just packed with like valuable cards at the moment right now. Like a Leyline of Anticipation, I think, is still around like an $8 or $9 card alone.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you pick up the deck for like, I think it's like $25 to $50 or whatever they are around. Like it kind of just makes it so you have to pick these decks up. Like there's so much value shoved into them right now, and there's no time to breathe in between them. Like people aren't even done like fleshing out like the last commander decks and stuff, right? We're still seeing like cool pairings come out from those things and how they build them. And like we got a month between this set, and now literally this morning, we're recording this on the Sunday. It's going to come out later today. I've seen people like already talking about double masters, like, oh, what do you hope for in this set? Like, just give us a break.
Yeah, it feels like it's 2020 all over again.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. I'm probably going to go buy some of these decks. Like, I like to buy them, but again, when do I have time to rip these decks apart, make like new? I like to make so many decks in a set, right? And then all of a sudden, There's 4 more commander decks with multiple commander options and partners. I'm still having a blast with like Keima from Kamigawa and stuff, right? Like the Keima, Chishiro, like those ones.
Yeah.
I'm still fooling around with those decks, and then like we're 9 commander decks deep from then.
Yeah, there's so much. Like I keep thinking like, oh, I'm gonna build this commander deck, and then something else comes out, and then something else comes out, and I'm just like, I can't go back to having like 50 commander decks. Like that's just so much.
Yeah. I don't know. We're back to the spot where we're at now, and again, that's my complaint. So far, pre-release has gone by at least, and I have stayed true to my word. True to my word, and not gone and bought product because again, I just don't want to support this onslaught of products. Like, let us breathe, give a little more quality into it. I'm a little disappointed with the set a bit as well. There's a lot of cool stuff in it, but I don't know. If they're gonna do it this fast, they gotta at least make it worth my time. If that makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll jump back into where we ended off last week. We finished with Raphael. So our first one on this list is going to be Ravenloft Adventurer, 3 and a black, human rogue assassin, 3/4. When it enters, you take the initiative. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put a hit counter on it. Whenever Ravenloft Adventurer attacks, if you've completed a dungeon, defending player loses a life for each card they own in exile with a hit counter on it. And this, Lotus talked about a while ago about when this was initially spoiled, that this functions with Atrata because I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, Atrata. Whatever one that cares about cards with hit counters on it, these are still hit counters. They don't need to be ones put with Atrata, the silencer, so it functions really well in a deck like that.
Yeah.
The River of Tears, is that a reprint?
Yes, it is a reprint.
That's really cool. I don't ever play those lands. Tap to add blue. If you've played a land this turn, add black instead. That's really cool. I like that.
We have Robe of the Archmagi. That's a new one. It's 2 and a blue for an equipment. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards, equip 4, and then you can equip to a shaman, warlock, or wizard for 1. That's insane.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that art is beautiful.
It is really cool, yeah. You want to? I'll do this one. Saravok's Tome. 4 colorless artifact. When it enters, you take the initiative. Tap to add a colorless. If you have the initiative, tap to add 2 colorless instead. 3 and a tap, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Activate only if you've completed a dungeon. I love that. I love chaos. I love to roll the dice on what I'm going to get. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking here. Yeah, you want to do this next one?
I'm trying to figure out the next one that's not a reprint.
I don't think it is. If it is, whatever.
Okay.
Read it anyways, yeah.
Okay. So the next one is Sculpted Sunbeam, or Sunburst, 3 double white for a sorcery. Choose a creature you control, then each opponent chooses a creature they control with equal or lesser power. If you choose a creature this way, exile each creature not chosen by any player this way.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good removal. I love good exile.
Next, we have Seasoned Dungeoneer. It's 3 and a white for a 3/4 human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Whenever you attack, target attacking cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard gains protection from creature until end of turn. It explores.
Really solid card for Najila.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to see explorers. That's really cool.
Yeah, explore stapled on there is really, really cool.
Just all these white cards getting good stuff now.
Too much. Again, it's I posted on Instagram a picture of Giada. And Giada played out really, really well and stuff. And like a lot of people could say, oh, it was just a good game. But no, the power that they stapled onto Giada alone as an angel commander is absurd. Giving all of these like extra draw and like extra ramp things to white, like white has Avacyn. You don't want like a turn 4 Avacyn at your table. It's very hard to come back from that because people protect Avacyn really well. Only like Path to Exile and like cards like that are going to hit it. Like you don't want those angels out. One of my strongest decks, the whole point of it is ramping out giant white angels. Like you don't want a Sarah's Emissary on the board.
Well, you do if you're playing it.
Yeah, if you have the Sarah's Emissary. But like it's a lot. You don't need to give white flash cards that let them go get planes whenever somebody ramps a card in once a turn. The whole once a turn, like I love that like the design department. Sorry, I'm furious about it. I love that the design department was just like, oh yeah, this seems fair and balanced. It only happens once a turn, so it's fine. If you're playing against like 3 people who ramp and you just happen to have white in your deck, you're getting 3 lands a turn in the early game, and that's not even a little far ahead. That's crazy. It's not if they have more lands than you, like most white effects. They're just like, go off. Go silly.
And it just said planes, right? It wasn't even basic.
It might have been basic planes. I don't know if it was.
It wasn't basics. It was just planes.
Did it say just planes?
Yep.
I'm scrolling. You guys.
Yeah, so I'm doing the same.
I'm scrolling. Where did that card go?
All right, Mold Earth. Whenever one or more lands enter the battlefield under an opponent's control without being played, you may search your library for a planes card.
Oh, so I can just win harder with my, because first and foremost, let me say, the way that this card reads is if you fetch land something out, you can Terramorphic Expanse, and I can just go get my duels. Because why not?
Seems fair and balanced.
Yeah, as long as you didn't play it.
It's going right in Carador. I'm so excited.
What a silly card. Like, that's phenomenal. It's one of the better ramp cards, I would say, that has ever been printed. The fact that it gets any planes, not just basic planes. At basic planes, I still would have been like, this is an amazing card. But again, I don't think this is in the main set. If it is, I'm going to buy every one of them. I think it's in the commander decks.
I think it's one of the, I forget what deck it is, but it is in one of the commander decks.
Okay. It's probably in, like, the party deck. It's a cleric. I don't know. All I know, like I said, I'm going to go off for a while about how much I dislike that they're giving white that much. Like, because I think that white is already pretty strong. We don't need to, like, change the color pie up because, like, people want to play turn 4 Avacyn. I get it. All right. Anyways, enough of that. Shadowheart Dark Justicar. 3 and a black for a human elf cleric. Great tribes. Human elf cleric. That's weird. 3/4. One and a black. Tap it. Sack another creature. Draw X cards where X is that creature's power, and you choose a background. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good draw stapled onto a commander, and the ability to play 2 color.
Yeah. Then next up, we got Shameless Charlatan. 1 and a blue for Legendary Enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have tap 2 and a blue. This creature becomes a copy of another target creature.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy that quite a bit.
What's really fun about that is that, like, Sakashima's a partner pairing for so many decks. So the fact that you can just turn your other, like, commander into, like, a pseudo Sakashima for 2 and a blue is really, really cool. Yeah, I really like that card. That's a super fun one.
Unless I'm missing something, because I'm just doing some quick research here. I believe that Gnome that we keep talking about is actually in the main set. I looked at the party deck, which happens to be called Party Time, which is insanely great. I don't see it.
Is it just a main set card?
I believe so.
I'm gonna buy every one of those out.
Well, just feel free to send me one.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Yeah, I don't know which is the main set and which are commander decks, so excuse us if we're wrong on any of them.
Yeah, like I said, I just looked off of what Wizards, they put out the 4 decks. There's only one deck with white in it, and it's Party Time, and I looked about 3 or 4 times, and I did not see it.
I really want to talk about this next card quickly because it seems annoying, and everyone knows I like to play annoying things. Sly Instigator, 2 and a 4. It's 2/4 for 3 and a blue, sorry. It's a human wizard, 1 blue and a tap until your next turn, which is great in my skip my turns deck. Target creature an opponent controls can't be blocked and is goaded.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty annoying. It even talks how I talk to the me. I'm an innocent bystander. I don't do anything.
Oh, I'm taking this next card. This next card's so sick.
That's cool art too.
It's Solemn Doom Guide. It's 3 double black for a Tiefling Cleric 4/5 with flying. Each creature card in your graveyard that's a Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and or Wizard has unearthed for 1 and a black. I love that.
That's very cool.
That's so good. Yeah. What is I gotta look something up. You guys continue on.
Yeah. Next up we got Solemn Recruit. 1 double white for a Dwarf Warrior, 2/2 with double strike, and it's got Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Solemn Recruit.
That's pretty good. I may have a new favorite card in this set. Spectacular Showdown. 1 in a red, put a double strike counter on target creature, then goad each creature that had a double strike counter put on it this way. Awesome. Overload for 7, 4 and triple red. So you can goad the world for 7. That's awesome.
Holy.
It's going right in Kama. That's really, really cool. That's, like I said, one of my favorite cards that I've seen in this set so far.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, this works like I thought it does. We have to back up for a second.
Okay.
because I thought this worked this way. All right, Solemn Doom Guide. I'm already building around this card. This card's amazing. It works super, super well with Ashes of the Fallen.
Because everything is everything.
Well, so it's in the graveyard. It's 2 and it's an artifact, and it comes into play. You choose a creature type. Each creature card in your graveyard has a chosen creature type in addition to its other types.
Okay.
So you just name one of your parties, so you can build out of it, and then abuse the card.
Yeah.
I was super, super high on my Cedric's deck. Remember?
Yep.
Because it unearthed for their CMC. This unearths for 2.
That's true. Unearth for 2 is actually pretty bonkers when you're looking at it that way. The ability to end the turn 2 is pretty sweet.
Yeah, we have so many cards that do that.
That's very, very cool, actually. Speaking of party, the party stuff looks pretty cool on this set. I wasn't really sold on it the first time. Zach made Zagreus Party, and I thought that was pretty cool. But this one, this really like fleshes the mechanic out a little more. We've got Stick Together, 3 double white for a sorcery. Each player chooses a party from among the creatures they control, then sacks the rest. So to choose a party, you choose up to 1 cleric, rogue, wizard, and warrior.
That's so good.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So good. Wow. Well, let's see where we're at.
I think the Council of 4 is our next one. The rest are reprints. So many reprints.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the stuff they don't reprint. Just a side note.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah.
So we have the Council of 4. It's 3, a white and a blue for a legendary creature, human noble. It says noble, but it should be human nobles. 0/8. Whenever a player draws their second card during their turn, you draw a card. Whenever a player casts their second spell during their turn, you create a 2/2 white knight creature token.
That's pretty good.
Just as a side note, I saw this card with the etched foiling. It looks beautiful.
What's this? What is this monstrosity? How do you pronounce this nonsense?
Twin Collie Hunter.
You take this one, but it's still nonsense.
Sure. Twin Collie Hunter. It's 5 double green for a 7/7 with trample. It's got once each turn you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a creature spell you cast from exile. And it's got an adventure, retrieve prey for 1 and a green. Exile target creature card from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card.
This is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's because the sorcery part doesn't matter, so you could put this in Carador, Zach.
Yeah.
This nightmare fuel.
I'm trying to think of how I would use this.
This just exiles anything from your grave and lets you cast it for free.
Oh yeah, I get that. I mean, like, how can I continuously use it?
Oh, I don't know. Bouncy bounce.
It's fair.
I'm gonna take the next 3 cards because these are my things. This one not so much, but I'll still talk about it. Tomb of Horrors Adventurer. 5 and a blue for an elf monk 4/4. When it enters, you take the initiative. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it. If you've completed a dungeon, copy that spell twice. You can choose new targets. I think that's pretty cool, and it doesn't say instant or sorcery spell. It's just your second spell each turn. So you can do, like, if you're playing just big creatures, like if you play a Blightsteel, you'll copy a Blightsteel.
Oh, copying a Blightsteel twice would be terrible.
Yeah, that's really, really strong. Like, especially, I like all the if you've completed a dungeon mechanics. I always like that. I really liked the dungeon deck in the initial D&D as well.
Mm-hmm.
The next is a card that I just love, and it's a really, really good and needed, like, reprint, and then they just didn't reprint it. They just put it in the commander deck almost certainly. It's Traverse the Outlands. It's 4 and a green. Search the library for up to X basic lands, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I love Traverse the Outlands.
It's a good one, for sure.
Yeah. And then the last one is just, I love everything ooze related. It's, I don't know, is that Uchulon?
Yep.
Uchulon? I don't know. 3 black for a star 4. Its power is equal to the number of crabs, ooze, and or horrors you control. It has Horrific Symbiosis. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target creature card from an opponent's graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of the Uchulon. I really like it. I love the oozes that, like, self-copy.
Yeah, that's silly. So unless they just don't have them on here, which I don't think is the case, Transverse looks like it's going to be in the main set.
Traverse the Outlands is in the main set?
Well, it's not in the commander deck, and the only commander
deck...
Well,
that would be a very welcome reprint. I would be very happy to see that.
The only commander deck that's green in it is...
the Exile one?
Yep. And where it's sorceries, there are 14.
If it's in the main set, it's a good enough reprint that I would possibly say that the set doesn't suck. that and the Uchalon, anything that lets me make ooze tokens is all right in my books. I love the ooze Magoyf. All that kind of stuff is fun.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about the crab ooze horror, so we're on to Undermountain Adventure.
Yeah.
It's a 3/4 giant warrior for 3 and a green. It has vigilance, and when Undermountain Adventure enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. You can tap to add double green. If you've completed a dungeon, add 6 green instead.
That's really good.
Okay.
That's phenomenal.
Seems all right.
That's even it with being a 3/4, adding 2 mana for 4 mana is pretty good. It's pretty good. But the 6 mana, if you've completed a dungeon and it gives you the ability to go into the dungeon, that's really good.
Wow.
See what? We're on to Venture 4th now.
Love it. Very cool.
Yes.
Do you want to take it?
I want to take it, and I want to take the next one too. Oh,
I bet you do.
Yeah. Venture 4, 3 and a green. Exile cards from the top of your library into exile a land, put it onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom in a random order. Exile it with 3 time counters on it. What an awesome card. Just continuous ramp endlessly throughout the game. Really easy to hit this at turn 2 with a Soul Ring, like early game. So like you could, from turn 2, just have this going really, really frequently in games. I like that. The next is Wand of Wonder, and is one of my favorite artworks in the set. I think it looks just beautiful in every version of it. There's 3 separate versions, full art, a normal, and other one. I love this card. It's 3 and red for an artifact. 4 and a tap, you roll a d20. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery, then shuffles the rest in their library. You can cast up to X instant and sorceries from among the cards exiled without paying their mana cost. 1 to 9, X is 1. 10 to 19, X is 2. 20, X is 3. This is an awesome card. I put Chaos 1 in so many decks, and it does 1 opponent at most for 3 mana. Like, this is a really, really cool card, and it's in my like favorite Chaos colors. Oh, I love this card.
Yeah.
And the butterfly artwork is super cool.
Yeah, it's very neat.
And you may cast, so it doesn't force you to cast annoying things.
Sure.
I don't know. Well, you don't have to cast like something that'll kill you, or a board wipe or something.
Right.
I just really, really like this card. I think it's very, very cool. I've got nothing bad to say about it, and I want 5 of them. White Plume Adventurer is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you guys want to take that one?
Sure. So White Plume Adventure is a 3/3 orc cleric for 2 and a white. And when White Plume Adventure enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, untap a creature you control. If you've completed a dungeon, untap all creatures you control instead.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's so silly.
Yeah, that's pretty good. For even the every turn untap is pretty good.
Yeah.
Let alone all your creatures. That's nuts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good white cards in the set. If you play white decks, you should definitely probably play a lot of this stuff.
Next, we have Windshaper Planetaire. I don't know. 4 and a white for a 4/4 angel, flash flying. When it enters the battlefield during the declare attack step, for each attacking creature, you may reselect which player or planeswalker that creature is attacking.
Yeah, that's
for
pretty
5 mana.
That's annoying. The Giada ramps hard. That's going to Giada for sure. I love that. I'll swing out at you. I don't think you will.
Bro, like, what?
This is, I like doing annoying things, and I love when people try and make, like, I'm generally the threat at the table a lot of the time, and people will be like, oh, like, I need you to go and kill Daniel so that we can blah, blah, blah. It would be so fun to see somebody, like, politics around why they should attack me, only to have me, like, redirect the attack, like, the killing them attack back at them. It's hilarious. That's really cool.
Man, that's wild.
Okay, I just pre-read one of the other ones. I'll do Wizards of Thay, and I'll let someone else take that other one. Wizards of Thay is 3 and a blue. Human Wizard with Myriad. 3/3. Instant sorceries you cast are 1 less. That's pretty good at 4 mana alone. And with the Myriad, being able to possibly have them like be 3 less is awesome. And you can cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Really, really good cards stapled into this. Like, really good effects. Sorry, not cards. You have like Quicken in here. You have like Jace's Sanctum in here. You've got a 3/3 Myriad body. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
And
you don't even have
to like try to get through like Normally, the downside of something like this would be like, okay, like, yeah, you can have your stuff cost 3 less, but you're going to have to get them all through combat first. But your sorcery's having, like, flash, basically, is wicked. So you can just, I really like that card. The next one is something that I wanted someone else to take, but it's what I pre-read, and it's bonkers.
The Wrathful?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, Wrathful Red Dragon it is. 3 double red for a 5/5 dragon with flying. Whenever a dragon you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target that isn't a dragon.
Yeah. You blasphemous act the board and kill the table?
Bro, I've been doing this with Brash Tawner.
Yeah, I know, and look how much you love Brash Tawner. Now you have a tribe.
Yes, I do have a tribe. Oh, yeah, because it's a dragon. I could put it in, what's the name? The Mardu one. Yeah, Piru.
It's Piru. And I got slapped by Piru. That dragon does damage.
It does.
That dog will hunt.
It's real silly.
Yeah, trying to kill Piru just makes him do extra nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got all these white cards now that can just back him up.
Oh, you want this one, Slothy?
Yeah, sure. I'll take the next 2 if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
So we got Will, Blade of Frontiers, 1 in a red for a 1/1 legendary creature human warlock. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. So giving yourself advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a +1/+1 counter on Will, Blade of Frontiers, and you can choose a background. I enjoy that.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
The advantage is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really quickly before you go to the next one, I think the Dragon Commander kind of sucked from the first D&D one. I think that was the weakest of the Commander decks by a lot. It just didn't.
That's the one that cared about being dealt damage and then creating token copies.
Yeah, exactly. It had like an enrage mechanic. But there just wasn't enough things to make you roll dice, and it looks like they have put a lot more into it. Mm-hmm. But like, I really like this like ability to choose a background with like this one, because this seems more like something I'd want to roll dice with, other than the like do damage roll a dice thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm happy with this card. It looks fun to build around.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got Will's Reversal, an instant for 2 in a red. Choose target spell or ability with 1 or more targets. Roll a d20, then add the greatest power among creatures you control. And if it's 1 to 14, you may choose new targets for that spell or ability. And if it's 15 plus, you may choose new targets for that spell or ability, then copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy.
Yeah,
seems good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Especially with your double roll commander.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Zach, do you want to talk about this next nonsense card?
Yeah. We have Zevlar. I don't know how to say this. Exile.
Elturel Exile, I think.
Whatevs. It's 1 in Grixis, so blue, black, red. For a Tiefling Warrior legendary creature, 4/2 with haste, you can pay 2 and tap it. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a single opponent or a single permanent opponent controls this turn, for each other opponent, choose that player or permanent they control, copy that spell, and the copy targets the chosen player or permanent. What the hell?
It's pretty good.
What is this?
Pretty good. 3 mana unsummon 3 creatures. 3 mana lightning bolt to table. It's pretty good.
3 mana, what is it? Traumatize?
Yeah. It's
or not 3 mana, it's 2 mana traumatize. You know what I mean?
2 mana extra, but still, it's nuts. It's also, it's not when you cast it from your hand. Like, so if you have like something that lets you cast for free, like Sunbird's Invocation that's going off, that's pretty cool. The ability to double up, these are good spell slinging colors too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Well, you can also like 3 mana like fireball people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fireball for 20 and then 3 mana copy it for everyone, or 2 mana copy it. That's very, very strong. Like I could see that being a really fun commander to build around.
Oh, you can reanimate too.
Yeah, reanimate card from that's permanent,
right?
Yeah, I think you should be able to. I think Zevlor has like a lot of cool stuff that you can do. It having haste and not having to stick around is also pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's impactful as soon as you...
I just think it's really, really funny that you can peer into the abyss the table with this.
Yeah.
Everyone draws half. Who wants to draw some cards? I do. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I peer into the abyss, the whole table. Everyone draws half their deck, loses half their life. And then I Winds of Change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I really like this. Also, Jessica's Will. Let's for target opponent you add a red. You 5 mana Jessica's Will and potentially add, what's that, 21 mana?
Dude, I don't. Math is hard.
That's a lot. That's pretty good. I also play in bigger pods all the time too, right? So these like scale with the more people you're playing with.
Yeah.
I often play with like 6-player commander games. So that's like a fun one for a bigger group. I'm going to make a group hug deck with this, guys. It will be real group hug. You have to believe me.
I don't know if I believe you.
I don't have to believe you because you're lying.
Yeah. I want to quickly rip through a few of the legendary uncommons and stuff too. Because the last few sets, I've really liked a lot of the uncommon legends that they brought out. So the first one we've got is Abdel Adrian, Gorian's Ward. 4 and a white for a 4/4 human warrior. When Abdel Adrian, Gorian's Ward enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until it leaves the battlefield. And you create a 1/1 white soldier for each permanent exiled this way. This is a really cool card to flicker in and out. And it has choose a background.
Which means you can pair it with a card that allows you to flicker.
Yeah. Well, like even I would put this in like Rune, right? Because every time I flicker this, all of my ETBs will re-trigger. And every time I flicker any of them out with him, then like I'd also put this in Kodama Livio. Is it Livio? Whatever the other white one is. Any flicker deck. Emiel is also good with this. Token creation on flicker is nuts. And its ability to like get all of your stuff back. Like this is a cool card. I really like this. I don't like the sketch artwork of it. It's not for me. It's probably great, but it's not for me. We'll go through the legendaries and any uncommons of note, and then the background. So if you guys want to go to the next one,
sure. So the next one is Acolyte of Bahamut. It's 1 and a green for legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have the first dragon spell you cast each turn cost 2 less to cast.
Yeah,
that's solid ramp for dragons.
Yeah.
Next, we have Agent of the Iron Throne, 2 and a black for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have whenever an artifact or creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life.
That's phenomenal for any of the treasure-themed commanders we've seen lately.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. And it's an enchantment. It's much harder to remove.
Yep.
We have Agent of Shadow Thieves, 1 and a black for a legendary background. Commander creatures you own have whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. It gains death touch and indestructible until the end of the turn. The more I see these, the more I want to make a Sisay Weatherlight Captain background deck.
Yeah, there's so many cool ones to work with.
Well, just the fact that you can put the counters on it. Sisay's fetching depends on her power already. And then it gets death touch indestructible. It's very, very, I think, cool. And there's a lot of really good backgrounds. Like there's a lot of stuff that really goes off with these backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Someone want to jump into this next one?
Yeah, so next up we got Allura Merry Thief. It's 2 and a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature halfling rogue. Whenever you attack, up to 1 target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step and choose a background.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but this art really scratches an itch somewhere.
Just like it.
I love this art.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anything that says choose a background now, I think I really just enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm getting more and more sold on the background thing. I loved partner, and I've heard so many people say, why didn't they just give a partner? Because there's like 70 things. You can't make like 70 or 80 new partner pairings. You have to understand it's going to break the game.
Yeah. Like, this is just a unique way to like give the D&D feel, right? Like we had talked about, remember like back when the D&D set, we were talking about things we'd like to see for the original D&D set. We talked about like multi-classing, like how would they do classes? Mm-hmm. And this isn't classes as a background, which is an even more integral part to the game. So to have choosing a background, so you literally get to pick the commander you want with a background that you want to play as. It's a very cool way to do it.
I really like the mechanic. I think as much as I complain about the set, I'm probably going to build a lot of these ones just as more fun themed ones. Like that's what I like about this set. A lot of it seems really strong, some of it, but it seems like there's going to be a lot of fun, cool cards to play around.
Well, it gives you a good idea too. Like everyone, yes, I've heard the same thing about like, well, why didn't they just give a partner? But it's another way for you to like specifically make a very unique commander deck to you and your playstyle, because almost every you can pretty much build any kind of color pairing you want and play any way you want with these colors. It's very cool.
I like that. And like that Allura does have a really cool mechanic too. Like even just getting your Solemn Simulacrum things off back and forth, your unblockable things are really, really fun to get through. There's a lot of like really unique ETBs in blue alone, let alone in blue and whatever other color you choose in Magic. So I just really like that ability to like constantly have like my bounce back to hand, replay, and unblockable so they can't kill my creature that I want to ETB again.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The next we have is Amber Gristleomal. 3 and a red for a 3/3 dwarf cleric with haste. When it attacks, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each player being attacked with choose a background. I like that.
Yeah, that's sick.
This actually goes really, really well in my Hazoret deck because I already have no hand anyways.
You do Agent of the Shadow Thieves as your background.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a really good background for her.
1/1 counter and yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
There you go. See, guys,
Death
I've already
Touch
helped us out.
Indestructible. This is just a random uncommon. It's not a legendary one, but I really like it. Arcane Encyclopedia, 3 mana. It's just an artifact and it has 3 and tap to draw a card. I have a lot of decks that need something to do with my mana, and that's not a bad spot to sink it a lot of the times.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've got no giant problem with it. I play lots of cool things. Oh, and there's another one that I wanted to talk about as well. First is Bane's Contingency. 1 double blue for an instant. It's counter target spell, so it's cancel at worst. If that spell targets a commander you control, instead counter that spell, scry 2, then draw a card, which is awesome. Very, very good. And I want to talk about Banishment because I play a lot of token decks and it infuriates me. 3 and a white for an enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent opponent controls and all other non-land permanents your opponents control with the same name as that permanent until it leaves the battlefield. Number 1, this is great for just ruining token decks, but it's also really funny to hit like the table Soul Rings.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
There's just like a lot of cards that really, really get hosed by this. Anyone who's playing like any of the Sakashima kind of decks where you have your 2 commanders as the same thing. I don't know. I really like this. I think it's good removal. It's exile target non-land permanent. At worst, it gets rid of something that's annoying. At best, it gets rid of an entire field of annoying things.
Yeah.
Oh, also this next one as well. I'm taking this one. I'm partnering this with Tana the Bloodsower. I've been making a lot of illegal commander decks. It's a great time. But this is going with Tana. So it's Kadira, Caller of the Small. 1 green, 1 white for a 3/3 Orc Ranger with Trample. It's whenever it deals combat damage to a player, for each token you control, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. And Tana is every time I deal damage to an opponent with Tana, I make saplings. So it's going to be my Rabbit Garden deck one. And I'm going to play it. I don't care. It seems really fun to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
Combat tricks, they both have Trample. You guys get it.
Yeah, I get it.
If it's too strong, then I'll take it apart. But like I don't attack with the rabbits. I just farm them. Come on, guys.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Before we do that, Campfire as well is one we got to take.
I was going to read that one actually.
Oh, well then please.
We have Campfire. 1 for an artifact. You can pay 1, tap it, gain 2 life. You can pay 2, tap it, exile Campfire. Put all commanders you own from the command zone and from your graveyard into your hand. Then shuffle your graveyard into your library.
That's really good.
That's very good.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
I like that.
And next up, we got Cloakwood Hermit. 2 and a green for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step. If a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create 2 1/1 green tap, 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love these backgrounds so much.
We have Commander Lyra Porter. 3 1 red 1 white for a 5/3 human soldier. Whenever you attack, spells you cast from exile this turn cost X less to cast, where X is the number of players being attacked. Exile the top X cards of your library. Until end of turn, you can cast spells from among those cards. I don't like that you can't hit lands with this. That would have been a really cool ramp mechanic. Other than that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to read this Contraband Livestock too. 1 and a white for an instant. Exile target creature, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, its controller gets a 4/4 green ox. 10 to 19, its controller gets a 2/2 green boar. 20, its controller gets an 0/1 white goat. I love that. First off, I like exile effects in general. Like I was talking about earlier with Avacyn, you gotta get rid of some of those things. But I like the utility of that. Like hey, it might be a 4/4. Don't hate me. I feel like the next background's for you, by the way, Zach.
All right, we have Criminal Past, 2 and a black for a background. Commander creatures you own have menace, and this creature gets plus X plus O, where X the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Yep. I would play that.
I also like Cut a Deal. 2 and a white, uncommon. Each opponent draws a card, then you draw a card for each opponent who drew a card this way. So 3 mana in white, draw 3 cards is pretty good. Oh, but yeah, exactly. Everyone's like, oh, but it gave everyone else that. It doesn't matter if everyone else got 1 card. If you get 3 for 3 in white, 3 for 3 in blue is pretty good still.
Yeah,
it's good. I don't know. I got no complaints over that one.
And then we've got actually I want to take this one. Draconic Muralists, 3 and a green for a 4/3 Dragon Bard. When Draconic Muralist dies, you may search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle.
That's good.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the same CMC for the Harbingers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Next, we have Dragon Cultist, 4 and a red for a background. Commander creatures you own have, at the beginning of your end step, if a source you control dealt 5 or more damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying.
It's pretty cool.
That's solid.
That's actually really good for burn decks, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. We have Dungeon Delver as well, which is another one I really like. 1 to blue, legendary background. Commander creatures you own have room abilities of dungeons you own, trigger an additional time. I really like that.
I don't know if we want to read any of these other backgrounds first, but I want to read this Dusk Mangler. I think that's really solid.
Where is this Dusk Mangler? I haven't even seen it. Oh, there's
not
even another one. You're good.
Okay, it's 5 double black for a 5/4 horror. Stats aren't great, but as additional cost to cast this spell, sack a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. Those are all things I like to do. But when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life.
That's good, especially reanimating it, because that costs nothing. Reanimate.
Nothing. 1 mana, 2 mana.
For a sack, a discard, and a loss of 4 life is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's each opponent, so it's actually, on a normal game, 3 creatures, 3 cards, 12 life.
I like this next card. Ellen Harbree's Busybody. 3 and a white for a human peasant legendary creature. A 2/4. It's a tap. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. Put 1 of those into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order, and you can choose a background. I'm going to put that in my Tana and Rabbit deck. I'm making the deck. You can't stop me.
I don't think anyone's going to stop you.
Yeah, but on the inside, they might want to. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so you guys could take this one if you want, but this is really cool.
So next up is Erinus Gloomstalker, 2 and a green for a 3/3 legendary creature halfling ranger with death touch. Whenever Erinus Gloomstalker attacks, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield and choose a background.
That's very cool.
That seems very good. It's these innocuous commanders that are always so powerful.
I've been loving these uncommon commanders lately. I've just thought they were really, really cool. And yeah, I think that this would be a fun deck to build, like the reanimating your lands thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if you put it with red, you can sacrifice your lands with Seismic Assault or something.
Yeah, any of those cycle through them ones.
Yeah.
Explore the Underdark's another one I wanted to talk about because I like getting gates. 4 and a green, search your library for up to 2 basic lands and or gates, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, you take the initiative. It's kind of high costed, but it's more things that fetches me gates, and I like to play gates. There was a really fun commander at one point that was really good for gates. I can't remember its name.
Oh, it was Solemn Simulacrum.
Oh,
I think it started with a G.
Oh, bring it back. We also have Far Traveler, which I think is just a really, really nice artwork too. 2 and a white for a legendary background enchantment. Commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target tapped creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. I really like that.
Then we've got Feywild Visitor, 2 and a blue for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying.
That's pretty cool. The new Fireball artwork is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very solid. Next we have Ganax, Astral Hunter. Legendary creature dragon 3/4 with flying. When it or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you create a treasure token, and you choose a background.
The sketch version looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really cool. I like that. We have Gond Gate. Gates you control enter the battlefield untapped, which is nuts. Nuts card. You can tap it to add a colorless, or you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color a gate you control could produce. That's a nuts card. It's so good. Oh, I can't. Gates are some of my favorite things. I love to play Maze's End. And then just gates you control enter untapped. They what? It's so good. Oh, it's such a good card.
Gates you control become dual lands, that's fine.
Yeah, and this, turns into add 1 mana of any color a gate you control could produce. What a great card. Just, again, what? That's not even a rare. It's an uncommon of the set. That's a gate.
Yeah.
That enters untapped. That's good.
That is really powerful, actually.
Awesome.
It's really good. It's not other gates you control enter untapped. It's just gates. Just all of them. They all enter untapped. Budget land ramp go burr.
Yep.
I like it a lot. We also, again, just nuts. There's so many good guild gates. We have Guild Artisan, 1 in a red for legendary background. Commander creatures you control have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent have more life than them, you create 2 treasure tokens. Pretty good enchantment for 2. Which would go really well with the next one. Someone want to take the next one?
Sure. So the next one is Gut, True Soul Zealot. 2 in a red for 2/2 legendary creature Goblin Shaman. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature or an artifact. If you do, create a 4/1 black skeleton creature token with menace that's tapped and attacking, and you can choose a background.
I like that.
I will be taking this next card, of course. Yep. House and Emerald Archdruid. 3 in a green for a legendary creature elf druid, 2/4. There's bears on both versions of the cards, which means I will build this commander. It is 1 mana until end of turn. Target token creature you control becomes a green bear creature with base power and toughness 4/4, in addition to its other types. I also like that it's target token you control. I'm going to turn treasures into tokens. These are my treasure bears. Food token bears? Everything is bears. Look at all my Sapperline army of bears.
You said treasure bears.
Yeah. I really like this card.
Next, we have Hardy Outlander. It's 1 green for a background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the creature's power. Make your treasure bear an 8/8.
Yeah.
Seems about right.
Is Herald's Horn in the set at uncommon?
Yes.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I got no problem with that. We have Imoan Mystic Trickster, 2 and a blue for a human rogue wizard, really hitting those party ones. Legendary creature, 2/3 with ward 2. And again, I love ward. Such a good mechanic. At the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, draw a card, draw another card if you've completed a dungeon, and choose a background. I like that. I like all of it, every part of it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
This next one is one of my favorite backgrounds so far. Inspiring Leader, 2 and a white for legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have creature tokens you control get +2/+2.
It's going in my illegal deck.
Yeah, I might illegally pair this one with Ginny Faye.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I'm gonna probably next week just everyone know that it's probably gonna be the rabbits and the sapperlings. Just be prepared for an illegal deck. I talk about them all the time, but you can use Sidor if you want for it, but everyone knows what it's gonna be.
Next we have Kaga's Shadow Archdruid.
No. Before that, Zach, you are missing this blue sorcery, which you simply must talk about.
Oh, okay.
I just read it while we were going by, and this is you.
I don't know how to say this.
Arenicus
File Duplication. Sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except this token has flying and isn't legendary if the token is legendary. Oh yeah, I would totally use this.
Yeah, that's good. Is that in the set or is that in the commander deck?
I believe it's in the set.
That's nuts. That's clone on a sorcery, so very copyable, and it goes around legendary rule, and just because gives it flying.
Let me double check. It wasn't in the dragon deck.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna make a quick Blightsteel copy if that's all right. It does have flying. I understand it's all right.
No, it looks like it's in the main set. It's not in either.
That's really good.
It's not in the Demir one, and it's not in the Izzet one.
I'm gonna have to raid the uncommon binder.
As everyone should, honestly.
Yeah. All right, back to the other one, but I knew you had to talk about that one.
Yeah, no, it's very good. I love it. So 2, black and a green, Kaiga, 1/4, Elf Druid. Whenever it attacks, it gains Death Touch until end of turn, mill 2 cards. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land or cast a permanent spell from among cards in your graveyard that were put there from your library this turn.
That's really cool.
That's going in Carador.
Yeah, that's really, really good. That's also just, that would be a fun deck to build around, like a self-mill theme where you play from your grave.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do.
Yeah.
The next one's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Next, what was that?
Oh, go ahead.
The next one is Corlessa, Scale Singer, green and a blue for a 1/4 legendary creature Dragon Bard. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast dragon spells from your or from the top of your library.
It's not bad.
I kind of would want to build this. Like, Simic Dragons seems very cool.
And it looks, the artwork's really, really fun.
It's a Dragon Bard. I love bards.
Yeah.
Would you like a song of Wing, Wind, and Fire, or one of Gentle Heartbeats atop a Golden Horde? I like it. I'm into it. We have Livan, Cultist of Tiamat, 2 and a red for a 1/3 Dragon Shaman. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature gets XO until end of turn, where X is that spell's mana value. Choose a background.
Jeez.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, the next one's pretty cool too. You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. We have Lausanne, I think, Dragon's Legacy. 3 blue and a red for a 4/2 legendary creature, Dragon Shaman with flying. Whenever you cast an adventure spell, dragon spell, whenever you cast an adventure spell or dragon spell, Lausanne, Dragon's Legacy deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander.
That's good.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
What is this nonsense?
I have to read the next card. Lulu Loyal Hollyphant, 3 and a white. Legendary creature, Elephant Angel. It's a 3/2 flyer. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control, then untap them. What?
Nice.
That's good.
That's going in Carador. Everything's going in Carador.
And it's also got choose a background.
It does have choose a background. Why wouldn't it? That's nuts. That's really, really cool. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control, then untap them. This is just like a phenomenal aggro-based commander too. Like if you're just swinging out with like 1/1 soldier tokens and somebody somebody kills or tries to block any of them, you 1/1 your table and also untap your cards. That's wicked. And the artwork is silly. It's like silly. I love it.
Well, think about it too, like as a utility-based thing, right? So let's say you have a Secure Tribe Elder.
Yeah.
You can use a bunch of utility creatures. Like let's say you're doing more of like using a bunch of mana dorks, or you're using a bunch of like tap to untap this thing.
Well, it's also a permanent. Yeah, any tokens, clue tokens, treasure tokens. I like it.
It's really solid. And like you said, it's not hard, and it's a permanent. So you could set up so that you've went ahead and ramped using like a fetch land or like an Evolving Wilds or something.
There's
utility.
I can't remember. It's one of the. It's a black card. You tap it, sack a creature, bring a creature back from your graveyard.
There are a couple that do that.
But this, like, if you paired this with black, you could just untap that. Everything gets a 1/1 counter on it. This would be a fun Orzhov commander.
Yes, for sure. That's how I would build it.
That's also pretty cool. The next one?
Mage's Attendant or Mahadi?
Mahadi, yeah.
All right, you want me to read Mahadi?
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to read Mahadi.
Why doesn't this have choose a background? Because it'd be 3 colors, that's why. So we have Mahadi Imperium Master, 1 black-red for a legendary creature, Cat Devil, 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. That's insane.
It's really cool. That's really cool.
That's an uncommon.
That's a good group hate card.
Yeah.
I really, like I said, I've been enjoying the uncommon commanders almost more than the legendary one or the rare ones. They've done such a good job making like uncommon ones that there's like so many fun things to build around, and because they're uncommon, they're so accessible. I love them. I also like this next one. Minthara Merciless Soul, 2/1 white, 1 black for a 2/2 elf cleric. Ward X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. That's good. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter. And creatures you control get 1/0 for each experience counter you have.
Okay.
Oh, all right. In the most like kill. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Dan, you know where this is going?
It's going in Carador, obviously.
It's going in Carador.
Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield, you get an experience counter. Yeah, that's good.
Because guess what? Guess what people can't interact with?
Experience counters.
Counters.
You can proliferate them if you want.
Yeah, but I mean, like in a way to remove them.
Ward X. I'm sure there's like some weird way, like target player. Sun Cleanser, I think, gets rid of all of them, but Sun Cleanser is one card. And who runs Sun Cleanser? No one.
Mm-hmm.
Sun Cleanser is garbage, unless someone is playing this card, in which case you're going to really want Sun Cleanser.
Right.
A 4-mana Elf Cleric, which is cool. Ward X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. That's like already very hard to get rid of like anything that has Ward. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter. So, non-stop, you're going to get experience counters with this. Creatures you control get 1/0 for each experience counter you have is a very, very powerful anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can really rack experience counters up. Anyone who's ever played against, like, what's the green-black one? The Golgari experience counters one.
Oh my god, I can't think of her name.
Yeah, also, her name's, like, drawing a blank. Marin.
Yeah, Marin and Clan Nailtoss.
Yeah, anyone who's played against Marin knows how, like, nuts experience counters go.
Mm-hmm. They go burr.
They do go burr. That's actually a really, really cool card. I like that. I'm probably going to build something around this one. We also have OG the Exquisite Blade, 2/1 white, 1 blue for a 2/3 human monk. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and scry 2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Not bad. I don't know if it's in the main set or not, but Propaganda's huge.
Is Propaganda back in here? Yeah, that's good. Even if it's just in one of the sets, it's good. I also really like this Owlbear Shepherd thing. Just 2 and a green, Goblin Druid with a giant owlbear. But you never end step, if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, draw a card. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
You want to take this next? I'm not trying to pronounce that nonsense.
Rasad?
Yeah.
Yin Bashir?
I'm going to take your word for it.
I don't think I did bad on that one. It's a 0/3 legendary creature, human monk for 2 and a white. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And whenever Rasad Yin Bashir attacks, if you have the initiative, double the toughness of each creature you control until end of turn, and then you choose a background.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give you the initiative, which is kind of a bummer, but yeah, it's pretty good.
That'd probably be a lot.
Yeah.
For an uncommon.
The next card is pretty cool for the Simic Dragons idea.
Mm-hmm.
Renari, Merchant of Marvels, 3 and a blue for a Dragon Artificer 2/4. You can cast dragon spells and artifact spells as though they had flash and choose a background. That's also just a fun, that's a really cool artifact commander.
What I really like is, so we have Corlissa, which you can just outright play as your commander, or you can pair that guy, because it has choose a background with
something green. Yeah.
Well, there's one at the top specifically, Acolyte of Bahamut.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be very good.
Yeah, so I like when you have interchangeable commander options. There's no reason why you wouldn't play all 3 cards in the same deck, right? So one game can be one game can be the other 2.
I do like that. Yeah, alternating commanders is very fun. I think I might build this as just an artifact commander. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, there's that too.
I also like this next one, the Rescuer Twinga.
Mm-hmm.
1 and a white for an elemental spirit, 2/2 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, you can return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. That's great protection. That's great to get around a lot of. There's some important things you have, and this doesn't just protect a creature like it's an artifact. I really, really like this card. I think it's a very cool uncommon.
Yeah, and it has rabbits on it, so I was sure you wanted to read it.
It's gonna go in the rabbit deck, yeah, of course. But I like its ETB ability because I love ETB in general. The fact that I can double it up with a Panharmonicon to save a Panharmonicon is pretty cool.
This is true.
Yeah, I really, really like that. This is nuts. You want to read this?
All right. I'm probably going to butcher this name. Risla Rail? Kingpin?
Yeah.
3 blue and a black for a 2/5 human rogue legendary creature, Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gains Death Touch until end turn. If you've completed a dungeon, that creature also gets +5/+0 and gains first strike and menace until end of turn. Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's a lot.
This next card hoses me a lot of games. It's not legendary, it's just Rug of Smothering. 3 mana artifact, 1/3. Whenever a player casts a spell, they lose a life for each spell they've cast this turn.
Whew.
That hits everyone. There's parity across the table for it. That's big.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's just a creature.
Yeah, I really like that card.
Next we have Safana Clamport Cutthroat. Clamport Cutthroat, sorry. 2 and a black for a legendary creature, human rogue, 3/2 menace. At the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, create a treasure token. Create 3 of those tokens instead if you've completed a dungeon, and it has choose a background.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good, especially with if you are this. So again, this is why you can't pair things, because this paired with the elephant would be bonkers. 2 end step triggers, 1 caring about things leaving, generating treasures, untapping your creatures. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nutty.
Too awesome. We have Saravok Deathbringer, 3 and a black for a legendary creature, human knight, 3/4. Beginning of each player's end step, if no permanents left the battlefield this turn, that player loses X life, where X is its power, and choose a background. That's pretty good. Everyone will play the sacrifice game with me.
Moving right along, we have Sivrus Nightmare Speaker, 3 and a black for.
I love this artwork. I don't even care what it does.
I like the creature type. So it's a 3/3 legendary creature, snake, cleric, warlock. For 3 and a black, I said, sorry. You can tap it, sacrifice another creature or an artifact. For each opponent, you mill a card, then return that card from your graveyard to your hand unless that player pays 3 life, and you can choose a background.
That's awesome, and I know where it's going, Zach. I know exactly where it's going. Carrier's getting some hard upgrades.
For sure. That's insane.
Sack another creature or artifact, so it's a sack outlet, which is awesome. Mill 3, and then you get those cards to your hand unless you drain 9 life. That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
Scanos Dragonheart, 4 and a green for a legendary creature, Dragon Ranger, 4/4. When Scanos Dragonheart attacks, it gets XX until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among other dragons you control and dragon cards in your graveyard.
Seems pretty solid.
That's pretty cool, and it has choose a background. I like that artwork too.
Oh wow, they reprinted Starlight Sanctum.
Oh yeah, did they?
Yeah.
That's nuts. Is that that can't be in the main set? That's got to be. That must be in the party deck. Yeah.
I have it pulled up. Let me land.
Oh.
Yep.
It is in the cleric deck or the party deck. Okay, that's a phenomenal reprint
for sure.
This is a green card that I think you'd like. Split the spoils. 2 and a green. Exile up to 5 target permanent cards from your graveyard and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of the piles, and you put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard.
Okay. No loss. I love it.
Yeah, no loss. Just pick which ones I get back. That's really cool. I also, before we go to the next legendary one, this is pretty good. There's 2 pretty good cards. Number 1 is Stone Skin. 2 and a white for an aura with flash. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +0/+10.
Yep.
I played Doran the Siege Tower. Arcades exists. That's that's harsh.
We just kill you. And we just got a commander that cares about toughness too. We just talked about it.
That's a really good aura. 0/10 is really good. And then the other one I wanted to talk is Stone Speaker Crystal. 4 mana for an artifact that taps for 2 mana, so it's like Sisei's Ring. At its worst, pretty good. At its best, 2 mana, tap it, sack it, exile any number of target players' graveyards, and draw a card. There's a lot of utility in this.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think that's just a solid inclusion, especially a budget one.
Our next legendary enchantment is Street Urchin. It's 1 and a red for a background. Commander creatures you own have 1 sacrifice another creature or an artifact. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. I really like that.
I'm going to go look for... There's a card in here that's creature tokens you control tap for 1 mana. Does that have a background? It is Jaheira, and Jaheira does let your creature tokens tap for mana and pair it has to choose a background, which means that, like with Street Urchin, turns all of your tokens into bombardment.
That's so silly.
I really, really like it. I'm probably going to build that, like, just as like a straight token generator, like token bomb deck.
And then you play Brash Honor, so you deal even more damage.
I don't think you play Brash Honor, but maybe.
Well, think about it. So, like, you tap it, deal one, like, you sack it to deal 1 damage, and Brash Honor will see it and deal more damage. You target the Brash Honor.
And then doesn't Brash Honor only do 1 damage, or what's it do?
Hold on. I want to be sure I'm saying this right.
Yeah, I think you're just telling us to Brash Honor. You're adding an extra step.
Well, hold on.
That's fair. I'm waiting.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Brash Honor with
the sword.
No, not the sword. Well, you could use the sword, but it's also the red enchantment that deals extra damage.
Okay, fair. We also have Sword Coast Sailor, 1 in a blue. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no player has more life, this creature can't be blocked this turn. I think that's really cool.
I really like that art too.
Yeah, there's a background commander I will 100% be building. We will get there when we get there. Terramorph having a reprint, I think, is really good. I hope it's from that, but I kind of think it's in the Exile one. The Exile deck. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. I have everything pulled up right here, so we can
While Zach looks, I'll read Thraskus the Butcher, 3, 1 red, 1 green. For a 3/4 dragon peasant, whenever it attacks, double the power of each dragon you control until end of turn.
Yeah, Terramorph and 3 visits.
Why do they hate me?
Sometimes it be like that, man.
Yeah. We have Veteran Soldier, 1 and a white for another background. Commander creatures you have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white soldier that's tapped and attacking that player.
That seems solid.
It's pretty good.
Next we have Vol, Candlekeep Researcher, 3 in a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature even wizard with vigilance. You can tap to add an amount of colors mana equal to Val Candlekeeper Researcher's toughness. This mana can't be spent to cast spells from your hand, and you choose a background.
That's pretty cool.
That's very interesting.
I like that. Do you want to read this next one? Because I must take the one after that.
Sure. I'm probably going to butcher the name.
Viconia? Viconia?
Sure.
I don't know.
Drow Apostate. 2 and a black for a 2/3 legendary creature, Elf Cleric. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards in your grave, or return a creature card at random from your grave or to your hand, then choose a background.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what's good.
Yep.
We have Wilson Refined Grizzly, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Bear Warrior. I love every inch of this card. This can't be countered. This has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. This has Ward 2 and choose a background.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's pretty good. That's a lot. A 2 mana, 2/2 can't be countered, Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Ward 2 with choose a background. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I want to read this one.
You look, yep.
Yeah, because the flavor is so sweet. You look upon the Tarask, it's 4 and a green for an instant. You choose 1. Run and hide. You prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn, or gather your courage. Target creature gets +5/+5 and gains indestructible until end turn. All creatures your opponents control able to block this creature this turn do so.
It's pretty cool.
And the art's sick.
I like it. I pulled up a bunch of the next ones, so let me just rip through some. Number 1, Basilisk Gate. Just another gate. It taps for a mana or 2 and a tap. Target creature gets XX end of turn, where X is the number of gates you control. Activate only as a sorcery. That's not horrible. We have Black Dragon Gate. Enters tapped. When it enters, you choose a color other than black. It adds 1 mana of the chosen color. So we have, I think, 4 gates so far. We have Candlekeep Sage, 2 and a blue. Commander creatures you own have, whenever it enters or leaves, you draw a card, which is great for like a Fibblethip kind of deck. We have Cliff Gate, another gate that enters, you choose a color other than red. It taps for 1 red or the chosen color. We have a really, really nice artwork of Command Tower. We have Decanter of Endless Waters, which is definitely one that I wanted to talk about because it's really good. It's 3 mana. It has tap to add 1 mana of any color, at worst a manalith, but it also has you have no max hand size, which is awesome. It's a great
There's one I wanted to talk about.
Okay, you let me know if I hit on it when I'm there.
Okay.
We have Flaming Fist. When It's a legendary background enchantment, 2 and a white. Commander creatures you own have, whenever it attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. We have Heap Gate, which taps to add a colorless. 1 and a tap adds 1 mana of any color. 1 and a tap an untapped gate you control, create a treasure token. But still another gate, so we're up to, I think, 6 new gates.
And the Citadel Gate, you skipped that one.
Citadel Gate? Okay, yeah. So what one's that? Is it choose a blue?
Choose a white.
Choose a white, okay. I think there's one for each color.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure.
We've got Master Chef, 2 and a green. Legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have this. Creature enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Which is awesome for I play the Boros Elder Dragon from Strixhaven Tanazir. And this is great in that deck. It's a really, really cool card. And really, really good for a lot of decks. Like, even if you were doing the Jaheira one, Jaheira having 1/1, all your tokens coming in with 1/1, that's awesome. Navigation Orb I also really liked. Just really, really cheap, very, very budget ramp. 3 mana for an artifact, and it has 2 and a tap, sack it, search your library for up to 2 basic lands and or gates, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Very, very, it's like a budget card. It's a little expensive, but in colors that need the ramp, it's a solid option to put out. We have Scion of Halistar, 1 and a black for a legendary background. Commander creatures you own have, the first time you would draw a card each turn, instead look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 into your graveyard, the other back on top, then draw. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really strong. I like that one a lot. Again, if there's things that I blow past that you want to talk about, you just stop me. Scaled Nurturer is 1 and a green for a Dragon Druid, a 0/2. It taps to add a green. When you spend it to cast a dragon creature, you gain 2 life. I just like that ramp.
Yeah.
We have Sea Gate, which is the blue one of the gates. You choose a color. I like that they're reprinting, it looks, at least, I don't know, again, it could not be, but Snow Duels.
I'm pretty sure those are in the Commander deck.
Of course they are, but still, regardless. We have Tavern Brawler, 2 and a red for a legendary background. Commander creatures you have at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. This creature gets XO until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. You may play that card this turn. I think that's pretty cool. These next ones that I'm at is they're all the your ones and you've been. Do you want to read those?
Sure. So we start off with You're Confronted by Robbers. It's 3 and a white, instant, choose 1. Stall for time, tap up to 3 target creatures or call for aid. Create 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. We have Your Temple is under attack. It's 2 and a white, instant, choose 1. Pay for protection. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Or strike a deal. You and target opponent each draw 2 cards.
I like that a lot.
We have You've Been Caught Stealing. It's 1 and a red, sorcery. Threaten the merchant. Each creature blocks its turn if able, or bribe the guards. You create a treasure token for each opponent who was dealt damage this turn. Were there more? Because I'm only seeing...
There's a You Meet in a Tavern.
It's not showing up on mine.
Okay, I'll read that one. It's 2 and double green. Choose 1. You can form a party. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Or start a brawl. Creatures you control get 2/2 until end of turn.
I like that.
I like that one. Yeah, I think that's all of the ones that I wanted to talk about. If there was something else you wanted to...
There's one, because if my D&D group listens to this and I don't mention it, they will be very disappointed. We have Dire Mimic. It's 2 for an artifact treasure with flash. You can tap it, sack it. It adds 1 mana of any color, or you can pay 3 and it becomes a shapeshifter artifact creature with base power and toughness 5/5 till end of turn.
Oh, that's pretty
And
cool.
it's flavored text is sometimes the closet is the monster.
That's really cool artwork too.
It is. In my play group, they know I love mimics. It's like one of my favorite things about D&D, so I always put mimics in everything. So my play group is always constantly like, do I notice the chest is moving? Is the chest breathing?
I really like a lot of the... As I went through the uncommons and commons there, a lot of what I like is stapled into that slot.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. I think when I really noticed it for me, it was during the Ikoria set. But Wizards has done a really good job lately of making the commons and uncommons worth more, especially like as we see prices for packs go up and kind of like the accessibility of mythics and rares now. It doesn't really feel like anything in a set is very like hard to obtain. A lot of the time now when I'm going to pick up cards off the secondary market, it's like, oh, I want this mythic. And it used to be back in the day, you know, like I'm expecting double, maybe, you know, high double digits. Now it's like because everything is so easily accessible, we have so many different versions of cards, you know, a standard mythic might be, you know, only a couple bucks if that. So I think Wizards had to start like doing something to increase the power level overall. And, you know, we're not just looking at standard play anymore or any other format. We're also looking at Commander, which you and I both know, and you can attest to this for my deck building. I will spend hours going through my bulk to see what I can use and what can't I use. And I find a lot of good commons and uncommons because they do exist.
What works, yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff now that are just I constantly like. Village Rites was a huge example of that. Like that it goes in every black deck I play because it's so good.
Yeah.
So I think a design philosophy has recently changed, and that's why we're starting to see more and more of this like good stuff in every slot. Because paying $4 to $5 for a pack of cards now, like you expect there to be good value regardless of if you get the mythic or the rare you're looking for.
Yeah. There is I wanted to talk about two other things for everyone who's made it to the end of this episode. Here's two bonus cards that we missed in the first one. Number one is Brainstealer Dragon, and this is awesome. 5 double black for a dragon horror flying 6/6. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you can spend mana any color. Whenever a non-land permanent an opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to its mana value.
That's really good.
That's really cool, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very top, there's another card that we didn't get to. It's a red chooser background card in the bees, if you want to quickly go to that one. I'll let you have that one.
What rarity?
Mythic at the very top.
Okay, let's see.
I missed it on my first scroll through here. It's
I don't know why these aren't showing up for me, man.
Baloth?
Let me refresh, see if that
should be right beside the Ancient Silver Dragon. Is it not there on yours?
No.
Okay, well, I'll read it. Baloth Baratil? Something Entertainer. 4 and a red for a legendary elf shaman 2/5. Creatures your opponents control with power less than its power are goaded, which I think is cool. And whenever a goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token and it has choose a background.
That's very good.
Yeah, I think that's like a super cool one.
Yeah, I think overall this set has a lot of really, really cool things.
I disliked it until we got into the uncommons, and there was a lot of uncommons that I like and want to build. They brought me back with this bear, with Wilson.
That's fair, dude. That's fair.
I'm probably going to build like 4 Wilson decks, to be honest. Wilson having the partner-esque mechanic has made me want to build so many Wilson decks.
I would be interested to see what you end up doing with all those for sure.
I might make 5 Wilson decks, to be honest. I might make one for each color.
That's what Benson has done with Thrasios. So
has he done every pairing with Thrasios, like every color?
Yep.
Benson makes cool stuff.
He does. I constantly enjoy his decks. You should see the Jeskai deck he's working on now. I actually would play it.
I'll have to. One of these days, I'll get Benson on to come do one of those decks. And again, I love the Bramble Sovereign artwork. I'm just scrolling through seeing that. Yeah, but that's for everyone there. Like I said, there's probably going to be 5 Wilson decks coming. They won't be episodes because I can't subject people to that. But Zach, do you want to let everyone know where they can find our stuff?
Sure. Thank you first and foremost for getting to another end of the episode with us. We really appreciate it. If you would like to find more of our stuff, you can go to Insta99.com. That's your one-stop shop for all things Insta99. You can find articles made by the community there. You can find a link to our Discord where you can join. We're constantly active, constantly talking about new cards, old cards. You can get games there. And also, if you see any card on here that you would like to get and you don't want to buy a normal version, you can go to abyssproxyshop.com, use promo code IT99 and pick up yourself some nice cardboard.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. It's probably just, by the way, for everyone, it's probably going to be the Rabbits and Saprolines deck next week. You're just going to have to buckle up for that and accept it. So
All right, bye guys. Have a good week.